All right, this is Jen's Bundle. We are here at Door to Door Con 6. It's been 6 years. Crazy here on the Expand podcast. We're here with Josh Peters, the man. He's the founder of Iron Clad Recruiting. Incredible dude. Tell us a little bit, Josh, about your journey. I know we're personal, have a personal relationship outside of this. Besides the ice plunge extraordinaire that you are, give us a little bit of insight, but what you've been through, your background, and what you're doing now.
Yeah. So a little bit about me. I grew up in Southern Virginia, little town, less than 1,200 people. So.
Let's. How about, can you do this segment and how you used to talk?
Dude, I can't anymore. I used to have a Southern accent, and then I served a mission in Mexico.
Man.
And for like a year, I had a Southern Mexican accent, and that was the weirdest. Like, people are always like, "What? Why do you sound like that?" Like, And then
I would love to hear that. I would have loved to hear that.
It was like, "Hola, cómo está?"
Oh, that's awesome.
So I had it for a while, but then obviously, like, I got a Mexican accent.
Yeah.
And then when I came home, I moved to Utah, and Utah doesn't really have much of an accent, right?
Yeah.
And so like I kind of lost it. So now I just sound like this.
Nice,
right?
nice.
But yeah,
okay, so grew up in Southern Virginia.
Yep, grew up in Southern Virginia. My family owned a landscape business. So from the ages of 8 to 18, I was working in the family business. My mom had 6 kids, so free labor. Woo! She had to do something with it, right?
Yeah. Had a whole workforce.
A whole workforce. So I was like, that's where I started to learn entrepreneurship from my mom. It's like, just have 6 kids and put them to work. That's free labor, tax benefits from the kids too, like everything, right? But yeah, so I served a 2-year mission in Mexico, got home, moved to Utah about 6 years ago. And I was just working odd jobs in like landscape, construction. And then a little, like 6 months after I got here, I joined the Marine Corps Reserves. So I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years in the reserves. And then about 6 months into like my Marine Corps career, I was married at the time, super broke, had no money. So I just was applying for a bunch of different jobs. And I got a job interview at a place called Rocky Mountain Inc. It was for a customer service rep position. Turned out to be door-to-door sales for Kirby vacuums.
What?
Yeah. So,
great marketing on their point.
Great marketing. It was perfect.
They got you in.
They got me in. But I'd never heard of door-to-door. I didn't know what Kirby was. So they got me in, and I saw the demo, and I was hooked. It was an awesome product. I was really excited.
Yeah.
I just spent two years knocking doors.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can do this for money.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So I had a lot of success in Kirby. I was there for about 2.5 years.
Wow.
My first year was mainly just like actually selling. So out on the doors, running teams, building, and like being a team leader. After about a year, though, for me, I wasn't super passionate about like the money. Like that wasn't what motivated me a lot. And so I was looking for something that drove me. And what that was building and helping other people to succeed. So I got into recruiting. And so with Kirby, what recruiting is, it's your sourcing, your interviewing, your training, and you're getting them your first sale. So it's a whole shebang, right? And that's where I first got my first experience in the systems of recruiting and like how it works. Because Kirby's been around 108 years.
Oh yeah, we bought one when I was, I think, like 9. We had a salesman come and we bought a Kirby. My mom still has it. She's like, they
still have it. Those things go forever.
They go forever.
This is a plug for Kirby. Buy Kirby vacuums. Right?
Give us a rip.
I got you. Right? But no, yeah, that's the thing. And so their systems are so well developed because they've been around so long.
Yeah.
And so that's where I got my first taste of like what systems and processes can do for recruiting, because they were just high quantity. Like I was hiring 10 people a week, right? And so, which is crazy for Kirby, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's door-to-door vacuums, right?
Yeah. Vacuums.
So yeah, vacuums. And so while I was there, at the time I was really bought in. I thought it was the best thing ever. And then I started to realize there's other industries out there. So I got out of Kirby and I actually went and sold water systems for a while. And then after that, I went to work for Door-to-Door Experts. So I was working at Door-to-Door Experts in the recruiting department, and I helped them build that out. And eventually I ended up being the head of the department for a little bit. And started building like a consulting package while I was there. Didn't end up happening, but that's where the seed kind of got planted for me, because we would source clients for companies, but you run into a lot of problems with that, and it's not very sustainable for the company, right? Like once we're done, there's nothing to show for them except for the reps that we hired, and maybe they fall off, maybe they don't.
Yeah.
And so I started building out a consulting package back then. But then I went and helped start a solar company in Vegas. I worked in the window industry, and I was mainly just working in companies as a recruiter for the companies. And it wasn't until recently where I broke off and I was like, you know what? I want to do my own thing where I can help companies develop and implement the systems and processes that I've used for the last 4 years to have massive success. So that's where I am now. So
Beautiful.
now my goal is to help as many companies as I can to standardize and professionalize their systems and processes so that more people can get into the space and have a better chance of succeeding.
That's awesome, man. What a journey. I mean, the journey that you've been through, I'm sure is really established not only a foundation, experience, skills, everything like that, but it's given you longevity. You understand what it takes to recruit for longevity.
Yep.
Right.
Well, and that's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you're just recruiting for a number, like if all they are numbers or like a dollar sign to you, there's no sustainability in that.
Right.
Right.
I love because we talked a little bit, and I want to get your thoughts on this, but your model in my eyes is the whole teach a man to fish.
Yep.
You'll feed him for a lifetime, right? Versus just give him the fish.
Yep.
So as you've kind of gone through the recruiting world, what basic principles have you established your company off of for recruiting? You know, that principle is specifically, like what other ones is the foundation of kind of what you do at Iron Clad and that you think is so important for other people that maybe are listening that are trying to build teams, that are trying to recruit for longevity?
Yep.
You know, what are those basic principles?
Yeah, so the basic principles is the first step to any successful systems automation, right? Because part of what people like deal with in recruiting is the upfront time and energy spent is a lot if you're trying to like manually schedule every interview, manually do it all yourself. And so the reason I say that is because if you can automate those processes, the scheduling, right, the actual like showing up, people doing all that, you can focus more on developing your own interviewing like skills and the systems and making it a lot more professional. Because at the end of the day, this is a job, it's a career, it should be professional for people when they first get there, right? And so a big point that I hit on for companies is like, you need professionalism in your practices or else you're not going to retain it or get the type of people that you want. Right? Because there's this stigma in door-to-door that it's like, the way that we've been recruiting the last however long is, hey bro, I make a bunch of money. You want to do it too?
Yeah.
You might not be able to do it.
You see this Audi over here?
Like,
yeah, like
Audi?
you want one too?
You want one too?
Yeah.
But you gotta be the best of the best, right? And so it's like, yeah, there's some value in that because then the people that are going to be attached and like what the people that works for will come, right? But there's a plethora of people out there that deserve to be in this industry that can have success that won't work for.
Yeah.
Right. And so what I do is I come in and standardize it and make it a professional system because this is what I tell people. And it's cool because I use mainly Indeed for my sourcing, which is kind of like taboo in this industry because people have been like burned on Indeed or it doesn't work too well for them. Right. But like I have recruited so many people from that platform that have become highly successful in this industry. And it's not because like they were better than anyone else. It's not because of it. It's just because they were introduced into a system that was professional and designed to help them get success from the start. And that's my passion is I want to help you develop better processes so that more people have the opportunity to succeed rather than being burnt out because they were brought in, there was no interview, there was no like professional onboarding, there was no training, and they couldn't succeed because there was no way to.
Interesting. Right? That's really cool because I mean, you bring somebody in, if your principle is longevity and that's what you want and you're recruiting for that, you're probably going to have the systems, the processes, and everything that cultivate that longevity. I just heard somebody in a workshop talk about if you're in solar and you're don't set for the set for the install. Yep. If you set for the install, you're going to be setting in a way that allows people to, or you're going to get through people that aren't committed. Yep. You know, and so that's the same principle, and you're utilizing that. That's cool.
I was actually just having a conversation with a potential client earlier, and I was telling him part of what I do with this recruiting system is we find managers. We find people that are going to work their ass off to become a manager, a leader in your company, because that's what people will work for, right? A lot of people, what their motivation is money and like the results of that. But for a lot of people, that's not their motivation. So if you can develop a system where it's like the opportunity for someone coming into your company is there's a management position for you if you work your ass off and hit the expectations, you're going to see a shift in the work ethic of people at your company because it's just like, well, it's like when we did our ice plunge. Yeah. Do you remember the little paddle that we had for people?
The beautiful paddle you worked so hard on. It was so great.
That you shit on?
I called it stupid on accident, and that was not what I was trying to do. It was a very cool paddle.
Very cool paddle, right? But we did an ice plunge 2 weeks ago, and I made a paddle that just said like do hard shit, and it had some cool stuff on it. And the the thing was, whoever stayed in the longest would win it, right?
Which that's why I was saying it was stupid. So like, don't kill yourself for the stupid paddle.
Right? Yeah,
That's not, don't kill yourself. The other part was it was a really cool paddle. I was just trying to get a point across.
But it's that
which
same
we
mentality.
had some close calls.
Yeah.
So
it's that same mentality though, because they were willing to do that for a paddle because they attached the value of the paddle to like their achievement, right? And so it's the same concept with like leadership or management. If you can get people in on the concept of that you can move your way into a leadership and management position in my company, people will work a lot harder for that. And the reason that's so successful too is because as a business owner, your goal should be to step away from your company and allow it to run itself. And the only way you can do that is by developing people into management positions.
Yeah.
And so from the start, if you set the expectation in people's head that you're hiring because you want to promote people, you're hiring because you want to build leaders, you're hiring because I want you to be a manager at my company.
Yeah.
That changes people's like mentality as soon as they start. And so now they're not knocking for money. Now they're not working for money. They're hitting those expectations and goals because they want to become a manager and they want a position in your company.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's another really like awesome hack that I teach people.
So
you can get people's buy-in so much higher by just simply adding that verbiage to your interviews.
So
right?
cool.
Like we're looking to find people that we can move into a management position within the next 1 to 3 months. If I tell you that in an interview, you're more interested in my company than any other company because guess what you want? You want to be a manager.
Yeah.
You want that responsibility.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's just a little bit of that mentality aspect when it comes to like this process is you can hack it.
Yeah.
Right? You can get people's buy-in a lot easier than just trying to tell them you'll make a bunch of money.
Yeah, you'll get it. Which is so fleeting.
Here's the thing. Whether it's solar, whether it's windows, whether it's pest control, people are making so much money there. If that was the only motivator, everyone would be there.
Yeah.
If money was the reason why like everyone should come to this company, everyone should work for this industry, everyone would already be there because the money's there.
Right.
So you have to find the motivators for different people because it's not going to be the same for everyone.
That makes sense. That's awesome, dude. That's so cool that you've started to hack that and put that into, you know, using your own platform and bringing people on. That's such a cool thing. I know if there's something about Josh that if you know Josh, you know that it goes so much farther than the money. It goes so much farther than the business, any accomplishment, anything. It truly is about helping like you yourself becoming better and helping others become better. That's something you're so dedicated to, something that I resonate so much with you and respect and admire a ton. So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're doing, you're trying to cultivate, you want to do, and maybe some of your principles around that of what it is that keeps you getting up out of bed.
Yeah. So I had a really awesome workshop with Miguel last night at the Airbnb.
Miguel's with?
Sunbright Solar.
Cool.
Yeah, they have an amazing company there. But we talked about it, and for me, it comes down to two major things, right? One of my biggest core values is the more people you help, the better off you'll be, right? Like that's just one of the biggest core values I've always had. So my goal is to add as much value as possible to people as I can. And it's almost a little selfish, right? Because I know I'm helping people because I want to be successful, but there's nothing ever wrong with helping people.
No, absolutely not.
And so even with my consulting business, right? It's a 3-month program and then we're done. You have all the tools necessary to succeed. And it's like, you won't need me at the end of it, which isn't a great business plan, right? Because it's like, normally you want longevity in business and you want people to pay you for as long as possible. But for me, it's not that. Like, I want you to become better in recruiting because there's people in your area, in your neighborhood, and the people you know that deserve to work with you and have this opportunity, right? Yeah. Now that's the second driver for me is I truly believe that I was put on earth to become successful so I can help as many people as possible.
Awesome.
Like there's people on earth that need me to be successful so that I can help them.
Awesome.
Right? And that's such a driving force because it's like, if you truly believe that and live your life based off of that, you're not going to wake up late.
Yeah.
You're not going to not do what you need to do.
Yeah.
You're not going to go out and not knock the doors, right? Whatever it is that is like your vehicle to success, if you have a core belief like I do, there's nothing that's going to stop you from doing that, right? So those are some of the things that like in my personal life, I cultivate and try and help people to find that passion because in my head, I'll never lose because that's my driving force.
Yeah. Beautiful. Love it, dude. Love it. I know there's a lot to come with Josh Peters. I know there's so much, not only on the recruiting side and helping companies, but so much on helping people become better. And you've started that, right? We're doing another eye sponge tomorrow, right? We're going.
Well, and that's really cool for me because I've always been passionate about bringing people together that want to become better.
Yeah.
And there's just some energy about having people in a group that are all working towards becoming the best version of themselves.
Yeah.
Like if you are constantly surrounded by that, you will always overcome.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we call it culture.
Yeah.
Right? I always relate it to like a river. If you jump in a river with a strong stream or a strong current, you're going to get carried along.
Yeah.
If you jump in a group of people that are working to become the best version of themselves and living the habits and the life that they should be, you're gonna be carried along.
Can be carried along,
right?
Absolutely.
And it works the opposite way too.
Yeah.
If you hang out with people that aren't doing those things, you're gonna be carried along.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like one of the really cool things that I want to start doing and developing is I want to help build a community of people that are constantly working to become better. And that's one of the really cool things that you do, which is why I connect so well with you, because that's like your main focus is helping people become better versions, helping people like handle that mental and emotional aspect of life, of sales. And that's part of the ice plunge aspect, right? Like we went out, did an ice plunge. It wasn't just to jump in cold water.
No,
right?
It was not. It wasn't just cold. It was freezing cold.
It was freezing cold.
We're breaking up ice to get in there.
But the idea behind it was like I had you come out, do a workshop for these guys so they could attach a sense of accomplishment to their insecurities and to like what they're dealing with in life, and use that ice plunge as a way to be like, I overcame, I did something that was hard, and the feeling afterwards I'm going to associate with what you were teaching them.
Yeah.
Right. And I'd love to kind of like, I don't know if I can plug you in this. I'd love to though. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about like what you do and why it's so effective too.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, one, thank you for expressing that, for doing what you do. You know, and we totally resonate on that. You know, I do the mental and emotional side for the door-to-door space, helping people get to the root of issues, whether it's childhood trauma, let's go figure that out, whether it's anxiety or confidence, you know, go right now. And I think the more we can coordinate, the more we can bring groups of people like this in this industry, a rising tide raises all ships, right? I was just talking to somebody that I should become a competitor with in the industry, right? And
Corey, right?
Corey, yeah.
Love the guy.
And we talked and we're like, dude, let's just collaborate. Let's help each other. Let's help other people. And that's what we're trying to do. And that's what you're trying to do. So as you go about your journey, as you start to, you know, develop these things that you want to do and impact the most people that you can, where can people find you?
Yeah. So my main source is like Instagram.
Okay.
Right?
Handle?
Josh Peters 1996.
Okay.
If you do the math, it means I'm 26 years old.
Yeah. Old. Just kidding. I'm older than you.
Right. But that's my main source. But also like on there, you can find my number. And I tell people all the time, if you have questions, you can reach out. Like for me, truly the most important thing are the relationships that you build and how people feel about you. Cool. Right. Gary Vee talks about that a lot. And so I try and make myself available for absolutely anyone who has questions about anything. And that goes for anything. I've had people reach out to me about their struggles with like addiction, and it's like, well, I don't have enough experience in that to like help you overcome it, but I can be a source of support. Yeah. I can be a solid voice in your corner, be like helping you out. And so that's my goal, is to just help build this community. And so if people want to reach out to me, it's like, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, same thing, Josh Peters, right? Awesome. And then if you want my number, it's on there, and you feel free to reach out to me at any time. Perfect. Seriously, do it. Josh will be there to help. I appreciate you jumping on. Authenticity is amazing. It's a superpower. Thanks, and appreciate you hopping on and willing to help.